The first timeline is an interesting timeline, and today we want to cover what actually happened to Hitomi and Sayaka in the first timeline of Madoka Magica before Homura got on her Back to the Future arc and didn't rizz up like Marty McFly, her mother, but instead got friend-zoned by the girl she tried saving for over 100 timelines. Heck, even Rem got it better than Homura when it comes to being friend-zoned. But whatever, let's begin. Our first time meeting Sayaka in the first timeline were months ago before Homura entered Madoka's school, and their first interaction were with Madoka and their wish to go to the music store to get some CDs for Kyosuke. They did go together to the music store, but unlike episode 1 where Homura was there to protect Madoka from a witch, this witch had enough prep time to kidnap Madoka into her domain expansion. Sorry, I just started JJK. Anyways, since no one could particularly save her, Mami Tomoe had to jump in and save Madoka, and that results into her saving Madoka and putting her on a bank for her to rest easy until Sayaka found Madoka and made sure that she was okay, but she was still, well, kind of in a coma after being kidnapped by a witch. So afterwards, at the same time, in nighttime, Sayaka did bring Madoka back home, and Madoka lay down on her bed to recuperate from this exhausting day. Sayaka later on called Madoka in the night to find out if everything would be okay with Madoka, and Madoka states that she's already feeling a bit better, and Sayaka is extremely glad to hear that since she was worried sick after seeing Madoka pass out in the middle of a coma and in the middle of nowhere. And all of that because Madoka was chasing a cute cat, which most likely would be Kyube. The next day, Mami Tomoe stalks Madoka to find out if everything is still alright with her, and sees how Sayaka is still worried about Madoka, and even tells her to stay at home. And after Hitomi heard what happened yesterday, she even encouraged Madoka to return back to her home to get a necessary rest. But since Madoka doesn't want to go back since she feels way better, Sayaka does her best to lift off the mood by doing her typical teasing of Madoka by tickling her all over her body. While Mami finds this extremely amusing, she feels a bit depressed that she doesn't have friends like that. Now we have a time skip up to day 5 of the first timeline, since all the events that I mentioned before are events that happened months before Homura got out of the hospital. Now at day 5, Kyoko visited the school, but right at that moment before Kyoko decided to go either into the school or out of the school, Sayaka ran beside her since she completely slept throughout the morning and was now late for a morning quiz, and therefore she ran into the school building at Mark speed. At the same day at noon, Sayaka, who was late for the test, needed to do some chores for the school and therefore met Mami Tomoe. Sayaka noted that she knows Madoka hangs out with her, but she doesn't know what to do and freaks out and runs away intimidated by Mami Tomoe's mature presence, which makes Sayaka wonder how Madoka came together with her. At the meantime, Hitomi tried her best to wake up Madoka, who fell asleep in class, but failed spectacularly, which resulted into Madoka's teacher waking Madoka up from her nap in the class. In the evening of the same day, Hitomi and Sayaka hums a music track from a classic musical track. Hitomi breaks her from her trance and asks if she wants to buy for Kyosuke some new music CDs, since she knows exactly what music Sayaka was humming. And so both of them decided to go buying CDs for him, so Sayaka could give them to Kyosuke, or at least that's how I understand it. Day 9 of the first timeline at the noon, Sayaka and Hitomi are in school, while Madoka is on health duty, and Sayaka is on her flirting mode and is like, well, Hitomi, we can deepen our social bond. And what I found funny was that Hitomi played along and is like, girl, now that Madoka isn't here, let's deepen our social stat. I love his interaction with Hitomi. But jokes aside, since Madoka isn't there, they had time to interact with each other once again, and I find their interaction always extremely interesting, since they are friends. Not the best friends, because that is Madoka and Sayaka, but still extremely close friends. And that can be seen when they're talked about Homura, and how Sayaka isn't sure how she would act if she were in Madoka's position, since she didn't know how to help someone who is always in the hospital, and tells Hitomi that she is amazed by Madoka's kindness and willingness to help such a person, while Hitomi is like, girl, if you were in the situation, you would help this girl too. I know you are the kind of person to help a person if they need help, which is kind of sweet. In the same day, in the evening, Sayaka visits Kyosuke and gives him a CD, and together they listen to it. And when Sayaka leaves the room, she mutters to no one in particular that she wants in her life nothing more than to heal Kyosuke's hand. Kyube did overhear this and found this extremely interesting. Now here comes the $1 million question of why Kyube didn't make Sayaka an offer to become a magical girl. And I believe Kyube believed after seeing Mami so happy of having Madoka by her side that she was no longer extremely suicidal anymore, did he believe that giving Mami another friend would result into her being way too happy. While a happy magical girl would help fighting against witches, it would also result into her not turning into a witch herself. At the morning of day 11, Homura kind of stalks Madoka since she is too shy to just ask her if she can join this school walk together with her, since she saw how her crush is walking with her best friends, this being Sayaka and Hitomi, who were talking about an amazing magic show, where Madoka states that she couldn't do anything from the magic show that they performed since a simple coin trick already resulted into her dropping the coin, where Sayaka states, yeah, you're kind of clumsy, girl, and Madoka is like, that was kind of mean, and Hitomi was like, it's okay, Madoka, I'm also kind of clumsy, and they all laughed, and Homura was extremely sad since she didn't have the courage to join this group. Anyways, let's continue on by jumping towards day 17 at the evening. Sayaka and Hitomi are in school, where Sayaka finished all her school tests and is ready to go to a fast food restaurant together with Hitomi. But Hitomi noticed that they have some time left and wanted to talk with her. Sayaka therefore uses her time to ask if she got another letter, since she heard that she got another letter from an upper class student. Hitomi is a bit embarrassed by this and quickly changes the subject to a more important one, this being if Sayaka has talked with Madoka, since she was always so busy. But like Hitomi, Sayaka couldn't interact with Madoka in these past days. It also has to be noted that they don't even try to, since they don't get along with Madoka's new friend Mami Tomoe, since they are scared by her mature aura. What I found extremely funny is that Hitomi, even in this timeline, believed that Sayaka and Madoka were in a relationship and believed therefore that Sayaka was heartbroken by this out of nowhere breakup with Madoka, and therefore she wants to do anything in her power to cheer Sayaka up. While Sayaka is like, boy, do I look like Mami Tomoe? I'm not into chicks except if they're hopeless and tomboyish and have red hair. And so we finally come across the final event at day 21 during the evening, where Sayaka is currently walking around the shopping district and meets Madoka's mother. And we learn that they last saw each other last Christmas, giving us the information that Sayaka is extremely close to the family. Junko told Sayaka that she is currently working nearby, and Sayaka tells Junko that Madoka told her a lot about her awesome mother, who always works pretty hard and always is there by her side and gives them extremely good advice about womanhood, while also working a full-time job and being extremely financially successful. When Junko asks if Sayaka hangs out with Madoka today, Sayaka informs Junko that she would, but Madoka always hangs out with other girls currently, which makes Junko a bit sad too, especially after seeing how sad Sayaka is at this fact, and therefore invites Sayaka to hang out with her and drink tea together while skipping work. Sayaka asks if that's really okay with her, and she tells her, hey, if you want to still stay friends with Madoka, we have to make noises. And also, you can brag about how you spent your time spending with Madoka's awesome mother together. And so they go to a tea shop and drink tea together. And so ends Sayaka's story in the first timeline. We can assume that she does go to the evacuation building together with all the other civilians at the end of the first timeline. But if she survives, it's a mystery. I would assume she would survive if Mami Tomoe beats Walpurgisnacht, but would most likely die when she fails to beat Walpurgisnacht. So her fate is determined if Mami beats Walpurgisnacht. But that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. So goodbye for now.